fellow lovers of beauty. I pray that today finds you all in the best of health, wealth, and spirit. Jumping right in, with the completion of my flooring, my next project became the kitchen. And although I just updated the kitchen in 2019, I did not touch the cabinets at all. So this year, I want to touch the cabinets specifically. I want to update them from the brown stain. I decided to go with a dark stain years ago because my kids were younger and the dark brown was just a great option for our family at that time period in our life. Um, I just didn't like the fact of getting onto them for being kids. And I actually, even looking at it now, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's just I'm ready for a lighter, brighter experience. Now that all are older, I definitely am ready for a change. I changed most of the house to white in 2019 from the darker, because I had darker paints throughout the other rooms as well. But this was the last part. Again, the brown was beautiful, so I had no problem with leaving the cabinets as they were. But this year I want to go with, again, a lighter, brighter experience. I'm using Bare Premium Plus Ultra White, again, the same that I used in the garage, and I think it's also the same color that I've used throughout my home to transition to the white. I did not, as you see, remove my cabinetry for the painting. I did not do it even for the staining. It simply takes a lot of time, and I don't like to indulge in that kind of time, so I'm better off to paint with everything adhered, and it works for me. I was able to complete the painting of the cabinets over a span of 4 days, and that was because I had to apply multiple coats going from the dark to the white, but it turned out beautiful, so it was well worth it. The handles I am installing, I found at Amazon, and they made for an easy installation as well because they matched my previous handles holes, width for width. So I only had to expand the hole that was previously installed in order to accommodate the gold handles. So that process made for easy installation throughout the entire kitchen. I found this temporary backsplash on Amazon, and I am a huge fan of peel and stick decor. I love the non-committal aspect of it. Decor is ever changing, so this is an inexpensive, an easy way to spruce up or change up your home. Tiles installation was a little harder than the ground installation, particularly because this tile was a stone overlay. I did not pay attention to that specifics of it. I just saw the beauty in it and knew that I wanted it, and I have no regrets with my choice. I did end up having to use my hammer as well as my screwdriver in order to make any cuts through that stone. Yeah, so that was really hard, but other than that, if you were making a cut simply through one of the pleats, a straightaway cut straight across, that was fine. A horizontal cut, you were fine, but any vertical or any cuts that you had to make through the stone of the tile, that was a chisel process that I had to go through. Being a stone overlay, it is much heavier, so the backing or the sticky adhesive is much more sticky than the brown. So if I made a mistake with the brown, it was easy to pull it back off, replace, size it and place it back at my wall. However, with this tile, if you committed, you were committed. So that I learned as I went through the process and ended up wasting some tile trying to go through it. But in the end, the overall process, I am super happy with the end results. I purchased this peel and stick marble white contact paper from Amazon, and it is specifically for countertop installation. I have previously used the regular contact paper, like it's typically a width of 17 inches. And I did not like the split that I typically have to do at my island. So I wanted a full coverage process this time. So I found and searched for countertop contact paper in order to get the width of my island covered. Did make for easy installation as far as coverage of the width of my island. It was cumbersome to manage such a large roll. Once the island was covered, I went back over it with a damp cloth in order to smooth out any remaining bubbles. Problem area for me when installing contact paper at my island are the corners. Because they are round, when I attempt to install or adhere the contact paper, it always creases. And that is very frustrating because I don't want any creases with the installation. So I went ahead with it while we were on camera, but I later went back and tackled that process. I did choose to use the heat method in my application as the melting on the counters and my island I have found helps with adherence of the paper to those surfaces. I have found that this method also works extremely well for ensuring adherence around your countertop edges as well. For the installation of contact paper at my countertops, I tend to make sure I cut and apply separate strips for the top portion versus the bottom, and I apply caulking in between once both are applied in order to avoid any water seeping in between the two spaces, but it makes it look much more realistic to separate the two spaces versus having one continuous length of contact paper running from the top to the bottom. As I shared in last week's video, I decided to keep the tile as it was in the kitchen because I wanted a different pattern, and also because it has held up for the 20 plus years that we lived in our home, and I wanted to try the idea of painting the floors. I've been researching it, and it looks pretty simple and easy, so I wanted to give it a try. I used the Rust-Oleum floor tile painting kit, and it was really easy, very straightforward. This is my first coat of paint, and in my research of the process, it was suggested to just put a thin coat down for the first application. Don't worry about trying to get a solid coat, as that coat, the first coat, would make the second coat stick better. So that was the whole purpose of the first coat, was just to get a quick top coat down, and the second coat would be provide your ultimate coverage. This is my finished product after my second coat of paint. As you can tell, it did not cover my entire floor. I had to go back and purchase a second can of paint for the size of my floor in order to get the full coverage that I desired, and that was perfectly fine for me, but I did have to purchase a second can of paint to get the coverage that I desired. Upon finishing, I did not like the stark white of the kitchen, so I decided to go in and add a stencil to my floor. I found a 3-pack assortment of tile stencil at Amazon, and I chose to go with this pattern. Although, I mean, if I'd have been better at the process or known the process, I may have used all 3 patterns just for a more intense or different look. But I'm happy with this particular stencil, and this process was fairly easy as well. I did not have a pattern. I simply decided to start in the middle of the floor where I knew my dining table would sit, so that I would have a stencil directly under it. And from there, I decided just randomly where to place the stencils. Although I had no set pattern for the stencil layout, I did not want to oversaturate the floor with them. I just wanted them to almost act as a pop of color to the floor. So I was very particular about how many I placed at the floor. Not necessarily where they were placed, but the number of them that I placed on the floor. The final step to this process is to add the top coat, and that step is very, very, very important because it is what seals your paint, and where you do not have to worry about any scrapes and nicks, things like that, or any of it coming up when you decide to mop or clean your flooring. So that final step of adding the sealant is super important. I have one area remaining to paint and stencil, and that is the space where I had to place my coffee bar, because, meaning the feet of it, because I did not want to move it and scrape up the floor because I had to drag it to the spot that it was in. So I did not want to scrape up the flooring, so I simply left it where it was throughout this paint of the floor process. So I still have to go back in and paint the where the feet of the coffee bar were at the floor, but I'll just go back and do that later. This makeover has been well worth the time and the effort that I put in. I am extremely happy with it. I had hoped to include my decor install as well. However, I am still waiting on a few pieces in order to complete that process. And in hope of staying on schedule of releasing at least one video a week, I wanted to go ahead and at least get this makeover completion shared with you all. So the plan is next week, once my decor pieces are in, I will come back and share that installation with you guys as well. I hope you all have enjoyed. I hope you've gotten some inspiration. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them below and I will gladly get back with you. As always, stay safe and continued blessings to you all. Bye bye, guys.